Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about a brief introduction to Chinese characters. Alright, Chinese characters, also known as Hanzi. This is the simplified, this is the traditional. In most schools today, they're learning the simplified version of Chinese characters because that's what the mainland's using. Now, what are Chinese characters? Chinese characters are a series of strokes that resemble a sound or meaning, but unlike the English, which uses any of the 26 letters in the alphabet to create a word, there are thousands of single characters, but you'll only need just about 1,000 to be functionally literate. You can see here, these are the basic strokes that you'll find in any of the Chinese characters. So if you master these strokes, that'll help you learn any of the Chinese characters. Are Chinese characters difficult to write? Chinese characters are definitely different, but I don't think they're that difficult. Some people just say they are. Like anything, with a little bit of effort, practice and positive attitude, Chinese can be learnt by anyone. There are some difficult characters though, like these three here, which has 64 strokes, Biang 62 and Nang 36, but you're never going to need them, and probably 99% of Chinese don't even know what they are or would ever use them. Right. According to history, the earliest Chinese characters were found on pottery in pieces of jade during the Shang dynasty about 3,000 to 4,000 years ago. These were called pictographs, meaning they were more picture-like and usually were objects that resembled objects people saw every day, like animals, the sun, and landscape. And you can see here by these examples here, these were the earliest forms of the pictographs, and they gradually developed into the modern day form, starting from about here. These are the traditional style characters here, and then we're going to more simplified. So there's a bit of difference here. These are the simplified ones in these two rows here. Okay, from about there to there are the different forms of, still modern, but the traditional form of writing. But then we're getting more into the cursive script. So you can see here, right, how they resembled simple pictures in their earliest forms and then gradually became more stylized. Right, in some ways Chinese characters were quite similar to the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. Right, and these were more picture-like as well. Both forms of writing, the Chinese characters and the hieroglyphs, are also known as logograms. So you can see here that they're very picture-like. It's something that you and I might draw if we had to draw something. Although Chinese characters and hieroglyphs were similar, hieroglyphs had different forms. Some of these forms were alphabetic, like this example here, resembling the alphabet, A, B, C, D, and they had their specific images and so on. And also, we can see in this image, the next one, this one here, alright, that they were more like the Chinese characters, where one image represented one meaning. Okay, this one here is very similar to the Chinese character, earliest form for day. This is an example of how hieroglyphs were similar to the ancient pictographs of China, where the picture represents the whole word or phrase. Alright, here's the easiest of all the Chinese characters. It's the number 1, which is a horizontal line. Alright. It was also on slide 1 as one of the basic strokes and is one of the strokes in many other Chinese characters. For example, the number 2 and 3. If only all Chinese characters were as simple as these three. Alright, now we've just got a few more examples here of Chinese pictographs, but they're still used in modern Chinese writing today. You may have noticed that the stroke order of the characters that we just saw were left to right, top to bottom. These two rules are the basic rules for Chinese character writing, but like anything, there are exceptions. Here's the word for mountain. It starts in the middle, and then the other two strokes. So this breaks the rule. Alright, now the next picture just shows how the earliest forms that we saw in a previous slide, from its earliest form of the three mountain peaks, how it developed over the years to its more modern form, and still the modern form, but the different styles of modern. Just going to see a few more examples. We have person here, and we can see also it's just two basic strokes, left to right, top to bottom. And we can see how it's written there, and also how it morphed from its earlier forms of someone standing up to more or less the modern form, the different styles of characters, and the final simplified version, which is pretty much the same as these ones here. Now the last example which we're going to show you is one that we saw earlier before and very similar to the Egyptian hieroglyph. It's the one for day or sun. This is how it's written here, the stroke order. And we can see in our last image how very similar to the hieroglyph, how it's morphed into its more modern squarish form. Alright, that wraps it up for the first video lesson on basic Chinese characters. Don't forget to contact me if you have any questions. 同学们，再见。